there everyone, it's Anthony back with another video here on Single and Placing. Hi, hope you're having a fantastic day, weekday, weekend, week, month, evening, morning, overnight, all of that good stuff, whatever you're doing and whatever time it is for you. I hope you're doing well. Today we are doing something that's an even more blending of the different types of videos that I do. Oh, excuse me. We are here at what's the name of this trail, Noel? It's called Blun Reservoir Loop. This is a 7.2 mile giant loop here in Arvada, Colorado. This is like really West Arvada. I don't know why it's still technically considered Arvada, but we're kind of in between my house and the open space that we often go to. We're like right in the middle of it. So kind of between Golden and Boulder. And I was just looking up walks that were gonna be easy, but long, but close. I had a lot of parameters for what I wanted to do, and this one popped up on the results, and I was like, let's go check it out. So you can do hiking here, you can do, people will take their horses out here. There's a ton of stuff that you can do out at this trail, but the reason why I wanted to pick something that was relatively easy is I didn't want to be heavy breathing the whole time because we're going to be talking a lot. And I wanted it to be long because we have a lot to talk about. So I don't know if we'll do the entire 7 miles, but I'm going to try for it. If we get to the halfway point, then I'm just going to finish it. If we finish talking about what we're going to be talking about before we hit the halfway point, then I may flip around. It's just really time and weather dependent. It's supposed to really cool off here in the Denver metro area soon. Like later tonight. Okay, so that's a road. This is the trail. Okay, cool. So yeah, we just follow this round. We can go right around this lake if we want. I guess this is called Tucker Lake, or we can keep going and go around the reservoir. So we're gonna try to do as much as we can. But yeah, I hope you're doing well. So yeah, blending of videos. So I wanted to do a video where I respond to your comments specific to my vlog where I discussed why I support AI artists. I knew that topic was going to garner a lot of opinions. Come on, buddy. I don't want to have to pull you the whole time. Come on. He's like in maximum sniff mode because we've never been here before. So I may have to adjust how I have him around my waist. So he's, the leash is coming off behind me. That way when he does want to pull, it's just my hips and my waist that are moving him along as opposed to like getting twisted to the side. But this is really pretty. This is an on-leash walk, so he's going to stay on leash for it. But this is a nice little trail. I had no idea about it, and it's closer than the other ones we go to. It's just not off leash, so that's one of the driving factors for why I pick certain areas. But anyway, so that vlog came out, and I knew that people were going to have some opinions, and I really encouraged everyone to leave some comments on that with your personal opinions so we can discuss it. So that's what I want to do today. Usually when I do my responding to comments videos, they're whip-in chats, but so normally these responding to your comments videos are done as a whip-in chat, where I'm in the craft room working on a canvas, just kind of more of a traditional diamond painting format, because I can have the computer in front of me. It just makes life a little bit easier to respond to comments that way. But I just filmed one of those recently, as in yesterday at the time of filming this, and that one was nearly 2 hours long, just getting through all the other comments other than the ones for that specific vlog. And I just, you know, I get ants in my pants. I like to be active, but I still wanted to film this. So I was like, it might be better if I try doing this as a vlog. That way my legs are moving, I'm getting some energy out, and just some movement. I just can't sit. I just can't sit still for that long. So doing another super long whip and chat, I was like, I've been sitting behind this crafting table too long already this week. You know, pretty much every night this week I've been diamond painting, which is fine, but it was time to get a good walk in. So I was like, let me see if I can do this, respond to your comments while we're walking. So I'm gonna have my phone out quite a bit. I'm just checking to make sure we're going the right way, which we are not. Why are we so far away from the trail? This must just be, oh, no, sorry. That was my phone not calibrating, so we need to go this way. So if we go this way, it would just take us around this lake, but we're gonna go the long way. So I've just got to literally pull Apollo along with my hips. I can't even, yeah, he's, poor guy. But he's got to be on leash for this one. He'll be okay. I think it's, even though he's on leash, so he's not sprinting around, it's gonna be the distance of this one that tuckers him out and probably tuckers me out. So anyway, so I've got my phone out so I can read your comment aloud, respond to your comment, and, oh, hold on, I gotta clean up some potty, 1 second. Oh my gosh, okay. we got up here, Apollo went potty, I picked it up, I had to walk back down to where the trash can is. We turned around, started walking back up, I went to go start filming again, and he stopped in the exact same spot and did it again. I'm like, seriously, I have to walk all the way back again? So no, you're not doing a third one. You gotta at least wait till we haven't even started. Little poopy boy. Yeah, a little poopy boy. So anyway, so yeah, I'm hoping that this format works. I also wanted to pick someplace close because I wanted to have cell service, so all the comments would load and everything. So I'm gonna try to walk, get some exercise, respond to your comments in regards to that video, and I think having some, getting some energy out while we're chatting might be nice, because I'll give you just a quick summary if you're like, what is he talking about? What vlog? So I filmed a vlog about a month ago, I wanna say, just kind of talking a little bit about AI art, giving a brief explanation about how some of the tools are used and some of the pros and cons, and why I fall on the side of supporting artists who use AI tools in their overall artistry toolkit. So I just tried to be very, very direct in that, I guess, in my long-winded way, just in case people had any questions about why I might have a diamond painting in my stash that is AI art and what are my thoughts on that. I'm a very firm supporter of artists that use AI tools like Midjourney in their overall toolkit, as long as they're doing it in a way that I personally feel is still respectful to the overall artistic community. So I tried to break that down, and so that's just kind of a recap of where I personally stand on this. So I encourage you to go back and watch that vlog if you want some more details about why I support AI artists and all of that good stuff. It's a very nuanced topic that does not have a clear black or white yes or no answer. And I think you'll see as we discuss some of these comments, one of the common themes that I'll probably be coming back to is it's not black and white. I think we as humans want things to be black or white, yes or no, bad or good. It just makes it easy for us to process things, to make personal choices. But this particular topic just doesn't have an easy answer like that. So you most likely hear me pushing back a little bit on commenters that still want to have that yes, no, always, or never. It's just not that simple, so keep that in mind. And I do want to do a little preface to say that I love all of my subscribers and watchers, and I kind of gave a little bit of a heads up in that vlog that, if folks do want to comment and engage in this conversation, I'm totally open to hearing new thoughts and ideas and taking in new perspectives. But I'll also be just as willing to question a comment or an opinion and challenge folks on what their thoughts are on it. So please don't take it personal or anything like that. I love engaging in meaningful, energetic, passionate conversations. It's one of my favorite things. I should have been on the debate team, but I love that kind of stuff. So don't take it personally if I don't just agree with everything you say, across the board, because I want to engage in that conversation. I want to encourage people to think about things a little bit differently, or at least think about their opinion a little bit more deeply too. So just keep that in mind, that you might not get, you might have commented and I might be responding saying, it is no means a personal, I hope that we can all be, open-minded in the conversation. Don't take anything personally, but I think this is a topic that's worth continuing to engage on. And so I will, I'll respond honestly and authentically and all that good stuff. So welcome to the no holds barred responding to your comments video specific to why I support AI artists. The other thing that I'll probably do is, Apollo, I can't stop every 10 feet or we'll never finish this. The other thing that I'll most likely do, it's so pretty up here. Look at that. So that's the reservoir. And then that is South Table Mountain. I've taken you to the top of that. We've walked around the top of that little bluff right there together. We kind of shimmied up this side on the left. We've climbed up that and then gotten to the top there and walked around. We've been to the far side of it too. That's closer to Golden. And then, is that right? I might be lying to you. That might be North Table. Now I can't remember. That's got to be North Table. So I haven't taken you on that one. They look very similar. I think South Table is the little bluff further down. Yeah, that's right. So see how this bluff here, this plateau and the one off in the distance look very similar. That's South Table and this is North Table. So I've taken you on South Table. They look so similar, but anyway, one of these days we'll go up on North Table. You can climb up there too. But anyway, I told Apollo to stop pausing, and then I immediately do the same. Okay, so the other thing that I will try to do is, once again, I have my phone on me. So if I'm like trying to think of an example or give a reference, I don't want to just talk. I want to make sure to provide examples of things when I can. So I will either do a split screen or a picture-in-picture. As I go back through and edit this, I'll pull up any examples or situations or artwork that I'm trying to reference for you, I will pull it up and put it in this video so you can see what I'm talking about too. I can provide a little bit of proof or example because I feel like I might be referencing a lot of stuff, or as part of challenging a comment or expanding on a comment, I might provide some examples. So trying to be thorough here too, so you don't feel like my response or is too shallow or I breezed over your comment. I will try to do my best to provide some information. I don't know how else to say it, but you'll see as we go. You'll see as we go. So I have all 3 batteries charged, which will give us about 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours of I don't want to drop my battery. 2.5 hours of talking. That's sometimes temperature dependent. The batteries are a little temperature sensitive, but we'll do the best that we can. So, okay, now that we've spent 20 minutes talking about how we're doing this video, let's do it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go into my YouTube studio and scroll all the way down to that video and make sure that I have all the comments here. Looks like I do. Okay, cool. So yeah, these are, it's only been a couple weeks since I put that video up. These comments are about 2 weeks old. Come on, let's go. One last thing, sorry. There is wind, and I have been experiencing some audio issues with my mic setup recently, especially on these hikes, and especially when it gets windy. It's been doing like a lot of screeching and just like weird stuff. So if that happens, I will most likely cut the audio completely out of this video, and I will do a voiceover at a future date of me responding to these comments. Again, I'm hoping we don't have to do that, and just place that over this. So yeah, I just want to cover my butt there in case I get home and none of this is usable. So I'm hoping all this works. Fingers crossed. I fully charged everything. I'm hoping it all works. So, okay. All right, so once again, these are all comments that viewers, listeners, subscribers, everyone out there left in regards to my video or vlog on why I support AI artists. So let's dive into it. Bella La Luna said, that boy Apollo is adorable. I don't like AI art in anything, but that is just me. To each their own, I say. My own personal thought is the use of AI can be used as a crutch by those who don't want to put in the work. I suppose if an artist used AI as a tool and not as a means of soul creation because they don't want to come up with things on their own, I call it being lazy, then that would be fine. Humans are fascinating and capable of so much more than what AI can produce, considering, as you mentioned, AI cannot produce anything original but utilizes existing works the person who is using the AI did not create themselves. I think that is why people have such a hard time with it. Thank you so much for the comment. I appreciate it. Yeah, I guess I see where you're coming from, as far as being worried about like people that are using AI tools such as Midjourney could potentially be just trying to like crank out images. And I think I mentioned that on the vlog, that it's just like anything else. Any other tool, anything else that you're given, people will use it in a way that is quote unquote ethical, or in this case legal at the time of filming this video, and people that are going to abuse it or use it to shortcut their way to something. But I firmly believe that that is not every single person. Just like you mentioned, you could potentially see it as being okay if someone's using it in the bigger picture. So yeah, I agree with you in that sense. What I would say is, you know, you mentioned that you don't like AI art in anything. So I would challenge you to define that for us. Is what do you mean in anything? And how do you go about identifying that? Because I believe that there's plenty of artists that are doing a ton of really good work utilizing AI. And if you show me an image from them, I'm not going to be able to be like, that branch is AI, hate it, you know? So I guess my question would be, how do you know, you know? Or what's the the sliding scale there? I guess that would be my question, is like, at what point is, I don't know. Yeah, how do you identify it when you're scrolling through Diamond Art Club and you just click on variety? Are you able to scroll through and be like, that one's AI, that one's AI, that one's AI, just with the naked eye? Or maybe there are a couple of kits in your stash that have it, you know? I think the lines are getting blurred more and more, and it's going to become so ubiquitous in the art space that at a certain point, would you just stop purchasing any digital art because there's a potential? And there's some other comments that we'll get to that I'll try to dive into that more. And then as far as the lazy part, yeah, once again, I kind of see that. Where I get tripped up there is what's considered lazy art and what's considered not lazy art. You know, are you looking for an artist to say, I spent X amount of hours on this while using AI? And is there a difference between that person spending 40 hours on their piece that you like, or the image looks good, or someone that spent 120? Is one of those artists a lazy artist? That's where, you know, what's the, you know, who sets that benchmark, or where is that personal benchmark for you of how much time is invested into a piece of art for you to consider it not lazy? So yeah. There's a couple responses to this comment. Let me like that and heart it. Stargazer says, I'm with you. I also don't want to pay the same price for an art piece that was created with AI when there's not the same amount of time and effort put into the level of skill and time creating it. The high cost is for the actual work. So thank you so much for the comment. I respectfully disagree. Once again, it comes back to what is considered valuable artwork in conjunction with time. So there are so many incredible artists, especially in the kind of like modernist space or the abstract space, that create these really inspiring pieces of artwork that will be so simple. And I read that comment earlier, and I just typed in Google simplistic art or simplistic abstract art, and there's so many examples of art that is, maybe it is a canvas that's just painted black. It's just a black, solid tone color canvas, but for whatever reason, for certain people, that can invoke a lot of emotion, a lot of thought, a lot of feeling. There was one particular Japanese artist that I saw that it was a completely black canvas with just a circle of red paint, just whoop. And that artist is revered. They're from the 60s, revered as being one of the pioneers of an abstract and modernist style, studied, explored as an artist, but I wouldn't necessarily consider their art to be incredibly time intensive and detailed and, you know, that kind of thing. So does that mean that that artist isn't as valid or less of a true artist than someone that spends months or years, decades working on a canvas? So I disagree there. I don't think there is a direct correlation between time spent and value when it comes to artwork. So I think utilizing an AI tool in part of a bigger process helps artists that are using it in the right way, helps artists to explore different ideas, get a lot of inspiration, or build off of kind of the bones of what AI can help create. But I personally don't think that every single person uses it as a cheat or a way to skip steps. That isn't every artist's mindset when they reach for those tools. So we need to break out of this feeling of utilizing AI tools is a way to skip steps or cheat the process, because that isn't true for every single person. You know, that it just isn't true. If I was to, you know, make a meal and I go for some canned roasted tomatoes rather than spending the hour and a half to peel and slow roast my own tomatoes at home, am I now a lazy cook? Did I cheat other cooks that do that out of you know, out of their prestige? I don't think so. That's a hard comparison, because the whole piece of AI software pulling artwork from around the internet always comes up as what do they call that? That's the hand that you play when you want to shut down all conversations about it, is how it's developed. But this comment's talking purely about time spent, value, whether or not artwork that utilizes AI is as valid or worth the money. I know several AI artists that invest so much time into refining their prompts, pulling those images into other applications and refining them, and, you know, and making them their own, that they absolutely deserve compensation for that time just as much as anyone else. Like, it's just, I find it unfair to say that they're less valuable of artists, or their work is less valuable because they're using modern tools. It's just, I don't believe that. But I do appreciate the comment. So yeah, and then Bella La Luna responded saying, I think if the artist used AI with their own works as the input, or if they used what AI came up with just as inspiration, then expanded on that and made their own thing, that would be different. So I challenge you to start searching for artists that do that. It almost sounds like you feel like that might just be like a concept and no one's really doing that. There are so many amazing artists that are doing exactly that. So start looking for those particular artists and see if you find something there that you can really get behind, because it's becoming more and more common. That process that you just described isn't an oddity. It's happening a lot. And like I said, throughout this video, I will be putting in samples and examples of art that I think falls into this category. Amazing, beautiful pieces that have been made with the incorporation of AI tools. So I'm here to prove it. The only thing that I want to prove, I want to see all perspectives, and I want my own eyes to be open. But one thing that I do want to show examples of is artists that use AI as a tool, creating some amazing pieces of artwork. So anyway, it's those that use what the AI spits out verbatim that I do not support. It would be no different than if a student used AI to write their term papers and then tried to claim authorship for themselves. Yes, I agree. If someone is just typing in mountains and prairie, and then the AI is like, here's a bunch of mountains and prairie, and you're like, perfect, download, who can I sell this to? I don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. For me, that's a little too, I mean, it is easy in this, if you're going that rudimentary with it, but yeah, I don't stand by that either. And mainly because the majority of what comes out of AI software, when you go that rudimentary, looks awful. Like, you have to at least do something to clean up the imperfections and the inconsistencies and the oddities that the computer will spit out. You have to at least do to help fix that, because it's not a perfect tool. It's not completely foolproof. Where I see artwork that's utilized AI start to blur the lines is when people have taken a human hand to it and adjusted things, touched it up, add or remove, change colors, change, a whole myriad of things. That's where I see it starting to blur the lines, and that's actually kind of what I like. I want to see those artists come in utilizing AI as a tool along other things and create some stuff that can go head to head, toe to toe with anything else in the digital art space. That's what I hope to see, so much so that this conversation of, I won't buy AI kind of becomes mute, because it's like, well, I want you to scroll through this site and accurately identify every single one of these that utilized an AI tool somewhere in the process, and then I will concede. But other than that, I can't wait till it just doesn't be possible, because it's just as valid as anything else, and it shouldn't be put in this like other category. Hey, look, it's a facility that the job where I work at owns. It's under construction right now. So thank you both for your kind of back and forth. I appreciate it. See, we've only gotten through one. This is why I knew this was going to be a long video. Okay, so Nova Scotian Hiker 9002 said, very interesting debate. I appreciate hearing a different viewpoint. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Oh, we're doing a little, so I think we do this little zigzag. We come all the way down and around. This is like a whole situation. We've done 1.5 of our 7.2. So Vaughn Kaiser says, what I gathered from the Facebook post. Oh, because this all stemmed from a Facebook post on the Crafters Anonymous with Mrs. Coffee Facebook group, where someone had sent her an image and was trying to call out that it is AI. I think it was from Dreamer Designs or something. I forget the exact impetus or the verbatim that post that kicked off me wanting to bring up that topic, but that's jogging my memory. Thank you, Vaughn. What I gathered from the Facebook post is that she just wants it noted in the description so people can have a choice if they want it or not. I guess fine. That could be something that shops do, is like put a little sticker on it that's like AI. But where you start to run into an issue there, I think, is how much of AI technology is ingrained in a lot of digital art tools. I think there's this misconception that there's just this one thing called AI and people just go to it and it's either that. Okay, sorry, I don't know what happened there. Come here. This camera is it's doing ghostly, haunty things, like turning off sometimes, and it just worries me because I'm like, this is, you know, talking about or recording a vlog or filming a video like this, you can only imagine how bummed it is to film something like this and then get home and it didn't work. It's like, it's bordering on heartbreaking when that happens, because it's like, I'm gonna need to go and hash all this out all over again. And what if I touch on different points? And I'm not sure if, you know, I'm sure you've experienced this in the past where someone asks you to repeat something and it gets more and more tedious and a little frustrating by the third time. So you can only imagine that times a 2-hour video. Come on. So yeah, it worries me when it does little blips like that. I'm like, please just, come on, work with me here. So maybe I need to look at maybe potentially in trying out a different camera and just really lean on that return policy. If I don't like it, I can return it. Because this one, I've had it for about a year and it's starting to freak out. But anyway, sorry, detour. So yeah, I think that there is this misconception that AI art comes from this one place, or AI images mean a complete full image that it'll spit out, and then that's all it's used for. It's used in a variety of different things that you most likely use every single day. There's a little bit of artificial intelligence sprinkled into that where the computer's trying to think for you. So think of like your predictive text on your cell phone when it's suggesting words or wants to finish a sentence for you. That's because it's learning not only from you, but from other Android or Apple users. When someone writes this word, it's usually followed by these two words. It's usually followed by this. So it's pulling that data from other places, learning sentence structure, learning common phrases, and then suggesting them to you. So you see that in your everyday life. There's probably a news article that you read today that the rough draft was written by a computer, and then the writer came through and made it sound more real and more human, but the bones of it were created by a computer. There's so many article titles that I can tell a computer wrote and somebody was too lazy to edit it. It's like, this doesn't make sense, or it's very disjointed, or it's supposed to be very like sizzle and like really draw your eye, but it's like too much, or it's the title of the article isn't really even at all in line with the actual article itself. So you can see that there in the written word where it happens. Just like the previous commenter mentioned, you could have it write your term paper. You know, if it would probably be horrible, but you could at least get it started, get your term paper started with ChatGPT, I guess. And I've personally used it in job postings where I have it help. Have ChatGPT help me write a job posting for an engineering role, that type of thing. So you see it in day-to-day life. I think where it becomes a pain point is like when there's money, your money being spent, right? You want to make sure that your money is going to somebody that is using a quote-unquote legitimate process for the product that they're creating. And I do get that. I don't think I've answered that question yet. But oh yeah, going back to the choice. So I think that's a little putting like a sticker on it that says this is AI art. Okay, that's where I was going. So there are AI tools or little pieces built into some very common digital art tools. So think of Photoshop. We all know Photoshop. The majority of digital artists utilize Photoshop in some way to clean up their images, add additional detail, all of that stuff. I'd say Photoshop and Procreate are kind of the two most common. There's actually AI technology built into Photoshop, and I'll do a little split screen here, and I might come back to this several times. But essentially, what you can do is you can upload an image into Photoshop, And the specific example is straight from their marketing for this tool. I forget what it's called. Let me look it up. But you can upload a picture, a beautiful picture that you took of the beach, and then you can tell Photoshop, I want a lighthouse back here. And it uses AI to, and keep in mind, they say that all of their images that they're referencing are legally licensed, but it's still kind of the same concept. You're asking the computer to do something for you instead of you doing it yourself. You can say, put a lighthouse in here, and it will, and you just click on where you want it, and it'll search and scrape tons of other images with lighthouses, and it'll perfectly put this lighthouse in your ocean scene, even though that was not in the picture that you took. You can take one of your pieces of digital art. Let's say it's a night sky that you've done and you want to put butterflies in it, and instead of drawing them yourself, it will just perfectly put these beautiful little butterflies all in the background just to add some detail to your work. So would you say that utilizing AI in that way also means, or utilizing Photoshop since it has AI tools, also means that that art would need a little AI sticker? And if that's the case, and we have to put that sticker on any digital artist that uses Photoshop, every single image on Diamond Art Club, every single image on all your diamond painting shops would have to have that sticker because everybody uses that tool. Now, whether or not they're using that specific part of the tool is a different story. But do we need to get that granular? Do we need to have a separate sticker that says, this artist uses Photoshop but not the AI part of it sticker? And then other ones say, uses the AI part of Photoshop sticker. You know, like, it starts to get messy. So why do we need to create that differentiation? If you like the artwork and you like what you're looking at and you would enjoy diamond painting it, and as it stands today, utilizing tools like Midjourney or this AI piece of Photoshop are not illegal. There's nothing that would put anybody in legal jeopardy by utilizing these tools. So why do we need to create that separation if it's something that I want to work on? I firmly believe that it's completely different than me going to Ivy Dolomore's Instagram, right-clicking, downloading the image, and then selling it as my own. That isn't what the majority of artists are doing when they incorporate this tool in their process. So we just need to be clear about that. Let that go. But thank you for the comment, and I appreciate you, Vaughn, for all your. I see your comments all the time, so I appreciate it. Come on, let's go. Oh, you got a root, huh? You're a little root vegetable boy. Vaughn also says not everyone who uses AI is a thief. Correct. But every artist, because of AI, will be more easily stolen from. Yeah, I guess, but those two statements, I completely understand where you're coming from. AI art makes it more easy for an artist to be stolen from. I guess tell me more. In what sense? Because those kind of work against each other, right? those two statements work a little bit against each other. I think we talked about it in a decent amount of detail in that vlog of how AI images are generated. They're not pulling from a single source. They're pulling from hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, millions of different reference points to develop the images that they're pushing out. So I don't know if, unless someone's being very specific with their prompts, I want this image to look exactly like this image, like shot for shot, look for look. I just want to copy this image, maybe with a couple slight differences. But because it pulls from so many different places, to me, that's not easy. That's not easy to identify. This was very clearly stolen from this person. I can tell that rabbit is Chuck Pinson's rabbit from this, and this. And it doesn't pull pieces of artwork like that. Like, it doesn't just cut out, you know, a rabbit from an image and put it in your image. It's just taking it as another data set. So it could be referencing 675 different rabbits, and it just jammed them all together in its computer brain and said, this is what a rabbit is. So I think that's another piece that sometimes can be a little bit misunderstood, is it's not like, imagine me putting a collage together. I'm the AI, right? I'm Midjourney, and I've got a bunch of magazines in front of me, and someone says, make me an ocean scene. I'm not, as a computer, going through with my scissors and cutting out a sun, cutting out a cloud from this other person's image, cutting out a palm tree. I would have to have 150,000 magazines in front of me, cut out all the palm trees, and then put them in a blender, and then make a new palm tree out of that. That's kind of a closer representation of how the technology works. So I don't know if it would I don't know if I would agree that it's easier to steal. I just think that the software has way more access to others' artwork than we would as people. There's no way that I would ever in my lifetime be able to look at and review and analyze every image that Midjourney is able to pull from like that, you know? So yeah, I get it. I once again, I understand and I agree with you to a certain extent, but I would say maybe kind of tell me a little bit more, like, yeah, tell me a little bit more. Tell me what your definition of like easy to steal is, because just by the nature of how the technology works, I just don't think it makes it any easier, unless we just say that it's, I don't know. Extrapolate for me, help me. Oh. So yeah, I don't know. Extrapolate for me, help me out with that one. But thank you so much for the comment, as always. Let's see here. My Happy Place with Kim E1430 says yes, and yes to this video and the conversation about AI art. Thank you for having the guts to support AI art and say it out loud. There is so much bashing of AI art without people actually knowing what it is or really applying their minds to the positive side of AI art. Suddenly people are starting to bash stores that are selling diamond painting canvases where the images are AI generated, and personally it's driving me nuts. There is space in this world for various art forms, and I for one am a supporter of having as much choice as possible. I wish people would just accept that that we are all different and we like different things. For people that don't like it or don't want to buy it, they should scroll past instead of now bashing people who like it. And stores who offer it. There is nothing unlawful about it and nothing wrong with it at this time. It is not illegal to generate AI images, and it's not illegal for stores to sell AI images. Like you, I'm so tired of seeing these posts in Facebook groups. I'm getting over the top now. Thank you so much, Kim E. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'm glad that you picked up on some of, kind of my general thoughts and feelings, and I totally agree with you. Where I would say that I'm a little bit more cautious, and once again, I'm not all the way this way or that way when it comes to, I'm gonna love every AI art that utilizes AI as a tool, or in the toolbox. I'm not a lover of every single one. I think it really shows, just like a lot of things, it shows when someone put even like the modicum of care into it. You can tell, at least at this point, where someone has put some more effort into it. And by tell, I mean, it looks like a traditional digital art image, right? Usually if that's the case, someone has taken some kind of time to work on it, refine their prompts, put it in Photoshop or Midjourney afterwards and continue working on that project. I see a lot of shops that do seem to carry images that utilized AI as a tool, and they just look really bad. Like extra fingers, extra hands, no hands, extra legs. The artwork just looks kind of messy and muddled, and you can't really even figure out what it's supposed to be necessarily. Come here. You gotta stay over here. Can you sit? Apollo, sit. Apollo. Hi. Hi. There you go. Come on. Come on. We're going this way. Come on. Come on, little scarhead. Yeah, I can tell when it's not, most of the time I can tell when nothing's been done. And I'll try to once again pop onto some sites and browse around and see if I can find some good examples of what I think is messy art, in my opinion. But to each their own. If you are really price conscious, a lot of times you'll see those kind of images pop up on some more budget sites, especially sites like your AliExpress sites and your budget diamond painting companies. I'm seeing a lot of them transition to AI artwork and provide an artist's name because someone did, run it through a program. Just created the image, but no editing was done. I'm seeing a lot of them do that versus outright, stealing a direct copy of licensed artwork. Like there was a time that I was browsing, this was early last year, I was browsing AliExpress because I was like, maybe I'll do a budget versus premium diamond painting comparison. And I was pissed because I immediately saw Ivy Delamore's artwork pop up on one of these AliExpress sites. And I'm not talking AI artwork that looks like Ivy Delamore's work. I'm literally saying I found Midnight Laundromat, I found Moon Thief, I found, I think Fisher Gal was on there, like the image taken from just, copied from either the Diamond Art Club site or something like that. So of course I have a real problem with that. But I see a lot of these shops now switching to doing AI art because it's also free in a lot of cases to pull these images down. But it's just like, why? Why does it look like that? Oh my gosh, there's another diamond painting company. I don't remember the name of it. I won't mention it. But they're relatively new to the scene. And they say that they create all their images themselves. And then you look at it and it's like, this is what happens when you are just typing in a bunch of, you're just typing in the bare minimum in Midjourney or another app and just seeing what it spits out. Like, it's very clear that this hasn't been cleaned up. It just looks bad. So I'll put examples of what I'm talking about when I see an image and I'm like, uh-oh, So yeah. I do, but if that's what you can afford, that's the point. To each their own. At least it's getting a lot of directly copied, directly stolen artwork off of some of these budget sites. And the AI images that they're putting up for sale, I don't like, I don't care for, but somebody else could absolutely love them, and that's great. Or it's perfect for their budget, that's great. But yeah, I don't think it's all equal as far as what I personally consider like decent art. But that's just my opinion. Everyone has a different opinion, and once again, no one gets to be the gatekeeper on what is good art. But I don't know, if I see like a beautiful kind of portrait shot of a woman doing something and she's got 7 fingers, I'm not into it. I'm just not into it, even if it is affordable. So anyway, thank you for the comment. Cheryl Gerhards 1540 said, "Thank you for this video. I appreciate the detailed explanations and examples you gave." Of course. Suzanne Susanna Itkin, 6655. I'm seeing so many people that I've said their name so many times in these videos. Hi! Thank you so much for explaining a very complicated issue in a way that I can process. AI is a medium that, as many online resources, can be used for good or evil. I agree that it can enhance the creativity of anyone who chooses to use it. I also agree that I, as a consumer, have the responsibility to know what I'm buying and know how to tell the difference between AI and non-AI. Your explanation has made that process a lot easier. Thanks for taking the time to help me make an informed choice when buying a diamond painting kit. Love your channel. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for these awesome comments. It's what feeds my content creator soul. Like, I have been looking forward to filming this particular video for a while now, and I love it. I love the engagement. I love hearing other people's opinions. I love the back and forth. And once again, I hope there isn't anyone that's like, ugh, he didn't love what I had to say, or his response rubbed me the wrong way. That is absolutely not my intention. We're just creating an open dialogue here. So, oh, it's so cold. Where are we at? We're almost at 3 miles. We might as well just finish this off. Apollo, I'm getting chilly. So yeah, I hope that I explained that well. And as far as a consumer's responsibility to know what is and what isn't, I guess, but should it even be that? Like, I think we need to get back to, does this artwork inspire me to work on it? Is this creating meaning and value for me? Do I love the way it looks? Do I like this? Those should be our basis of determining whether or not we're going to pick it up or turn it into a diamond painting or not. Like, let's break away from this. Is it made using AI tools or isn't it? And then I'll decide from there. Just treat it like anything else. It should be treated like anything else. Artists that create it should be compensated just like anyone else. I feel like, this is just an odd example, but I keep coming back to thinking, what if I didn't like watercolor or watercolor stylings in my artwork? Should I be checking me like, hey, did you use any watercolor in this? You did? Oh, that's too bad. Even though I can't tell that you did, the fact that you said you did, now I hate it. Like, I know that's not apples to apples, but that's kind of the example that I can think of is like, oh, you use Procreate? Yikes. I really hate when people use an iPad. Like, I only deal with artists that have a canvas and a brush, which is probably how it was decades ago when a lot of these digital tools for artwork came to be. I bet you people were having this exact same conversation of like using an iPad and a stylus and just selecting a color off of a screen and not mixing your own paint is cheating. And, once again, I know someone's going to say the difference here is the AI pulls images coming purely from like a look standpoint and like the process standpoint. I'm sure there was, and there probably still are a lot of people that will turn a nose up to digital art because it isn't a real canvas and it's not real paint or real markers or real charcoal or real whatever. It's not that physical thing, so it's less than. It's not real. It's all done with a computer. So we're just kind of in this cycle again. But yeah, I don't expect people to. I hope we get to a place where that isn't something that people think about. Of is it or isn't it, and the consumer's responsible for knowing or not. I don't think there is even. I hope there's a future where we don't even think about this part of it. It's just art. It's just digital art. again. So fingers crossed. All right, Patricia Matei 2362 said, great explanations regarding AI, Anthony. You did enlighten me concerning people like Hannah who use AI as a tool to move on to more traditional mediums to create art. I do think she is a minority. Yeah, for sure. I agree. She's probably someone that, or I know her to be someone that wants to explore her talent in a multitude of different ways. Just because an artist that is utilizing AI as part of their toolkit doesn't move on or doesn't add more traditional means like charcoal and different painting styles into how they do their art, it doesn't mean they're any less valid. It was an example of how a tool like Midjourney can spark that in somebody. Doesn't mean that that needs to be par for the course, because that's not everyone's journey. Some people start out immediately with just regular digital art, and that's all they ever do is digital art. So, but Hannah's just a real, she's just an amazing person that I'm always so happy when I see her posts of different things that she's working on. She just loves exploring lots of different things. I think that like many subjects, very polarizing to, like many subjects, it's very polarizing, like to eat meat or not. You make your own opinion known by putting your money where it matters to you. I do enjoy looking at AI art, but I would never pay for it in my diamond paintings or coloring books. So again, I would challenge you to tell me how you know. So if you're at the craft store, you pick up a coloring book from an artist that you haven't heard for, it's just a collection of different coloring pages. Are you able to flip through that coloring book while you're sitting at the store and say, whoop, page number 46 is AI? I just want to know when people say, I don't buy anything with AI, what's your criteria for identifying what that is? Do you write the manufacturer of the coloring books and say, hey, are any of these images AI? Like, I just don't understand. I'm having trouble grasping when people say that, what that actually means in practice, that you don't purchase anything from AI. What's your process for making sure that doesn't happen? Because it can be so ingrained into so many different things. So tell me more. I can understand traditional artists who are against AI. Some of them have been creating for years, practicing their art through trial and error to finally maybe make some money now, and anyone can do it in a couple of prompts. Yeah, they can. You can go into Midjourney and type in ocean scene and get some really poorly messy kind of ocean looking things. But it takes time and effort and dedication and investment of, once again, not only time, but a development of skills to churn what Midjourney or some of these other tools will spit out into something that is fully realized. So why would that development of a skill towards that technology be any less valuable than honing a different craft? I feel that learning how to master AI and create some truly amazing images with it is a valid skill, just as much as another form of developing artwork. So I think we're simplifying it too much, thinking that I can just type in garden meadow or flowery meadow, and it's gonna push out something that's just as incredible as an Abraham Hunter or a Chuck Pinson. It's not that smart, and it's not even close to being that good. It takes skill and it takes time and effort to refine and work with the technology to get what you want. You can make it as simple. I think I made an example in that vlog where I said, yeah, I can sit down with a piece of paper and a pen and draw a bunch of scribbles on it, but that's different. And that's what I think in my head, that's a lot of times what AI puts out is just kind of garbled nonsense if you just put in a couple of prompts like you've mentioned. It really isn't that simple. I have some examples on my phone. I think I took screenshots of them. I downloaded a trial of, I forget which app I used, but I downloaded like a little trial, and I forget, I'll have to look at the prompt that I used as well. But I did like lo-fi, because I'm in love with these like kind of lo-fi sunset kind of scenes. Like the Mrs. Butter D images kind of look like that. There's another artist on Mooney Made, Tally Sketch, that does a lot of these kind of lo-fi chill vibe scenes with like girl with one leg up on the chair with headphones on, reading a book, and they're, you know, it's a whole vibe. I love those. So I was like, I want to do that, but like Miami kind of Vice style, but in that lo-fi kind of style. So I typed in Miami city scene, lo-fi, chill vibes. Like I typed in all those prompts. It spit out these images where like we were on a street and like there's cars on the street, and it did kind of have that Miami Vice, or kind of, you know, that sunset in Miami kind of look. Everything kind of was yellow and there's lots of pink, so almost kind of 80s-ish too. But like it would be half car, half semi-truck on the road. So the front of it was a semi-truck, but then the back half was like an old Cadillac. And then one of them, the guy driving was part of the car. Like he was sitting like he was driving, but then there was a car coming off the back of him. And then one of the buildings was kind of melted into the sidewalk a little bit. The doors were really weird shapes, like all of this like wacky stuff. So it isn't that easy. It simply isn't that easy just to type it in and like, boom, this looks exactly like Tally Sketch, off we go, you know? It takes skill and effort to refine those prompts, get the computer to actually create something close to what you're wanting. And then even from there, you have to pull it down and come in and change shadings, fix that door. You know, there isn't such a thing as a half Cadillac, 90s Cadillac, half semi-truck. So we're gonna need to fix that. So I once again, there's this common misconception that all I have to do is type in 2 or 3 words and it's gonna be the same quality visually as a digital artist that doesn't use the tool. It's not that smart, at least not yet. At least not yet. So anyway, keep going. And I don't even want to think about how they feel about their originality and uniqueness being available to anyone with a computer. Not everything is about money for artists, Anthony. Yeah, I understand that, but it is probably a pretty common driving force for a lot of artists that license their artwork to other shops for profit. You have to keep commercial viability in mind when you're creating artwork. If you're licensed with some of these companies, it would be amazing. Or I guess like kind of the sunshine and rainbows view would be an artist can just do whatever they want, anything that comes to their mind. They can change genres if they feel like it. They can, you know, traverse these different styles, and they're always going to be commercially viable with all of the companies that they're partnered with. But that's just not the truth. Like if you develop a popular style that sells, sometimes you paint yourself into a corner there, and that you just have to keep doing that. And a lot of times it is about financial stability alongside anything else, alongside the passion for what you do. I really love what I do as a job day to day, but I would say one of the main driving forces for me to do it is people pay me to do it. So I don't think I ever said in that vlog that it was all about money, but I think it is a significant driving force for a lot of artists that rely on licensing to make a living. Such as those that are licensed by diamond painting shops. So yeah, I hope I didn't come off saying, oh, all artists are, money hungry or whatever, but we also cannot say that it doesn't matter, or it's not a significant reason. We want to go straight. Okay. Let's see. We've done, we've done 3.3. So I guess now we're halfway. Have a great day and happy holidays. You too. Thank you so much for the comment. Sorry for that being so long-winded. Patricia Matei also said, great explanations regarding AI, Anthony. You did enlighten me concerning people like Hannah who use AI as a tool to move on to more traditional... Oh, it's the same comment again. I responded. Okay. Oh, tunnel. Creepy. Creepy, Apollo. Oh. My little hand. Should have worn my gloves. Mia's life with KFS said, very interesting, Anthony. Thank you, Mia. I appreciate you watching. How are you doing on battery? We're okay. We might actually do this entire loop. Come here. Pull over. Pull over. Oh, they're going the same direction we are. Okay. Let's go ahead and give Apollo, hold on. We're going to give them a good amount of breadth so we can talk. Okay. Bev Jones 7485 said, the picture lookalike is perhaps my greatest objection to AI. When I look at a picture and say, that's Abraham Hunter's picture, and then see another name on it, that is taking the creative mind from the art just for profit. Bev, I would challenge you, or I would ask you, if you have me on Instagram, to provide a specific example if you have seen AI generated art that is identical enough to a specific Abraham Hunter piece that you were able to be like, oh, that's just this. Because I don't think I've ever seen that where an AI generated image is shot for shot, pixel for pixel, the same artwork. Now, if you're talking about someone maliciously going onto Abraham Hunter's site and copying and downloading an image and then posting it as their own, that's not what we're really talking about here, because that isn't with the incorporation of any AI art tools. That is direct, lifting a licensed image from another artist and just putting that exact thing up. Like I said earlier, I could, if I wanted to, go to Ivy Dullamore's website, download an image off of her website, and open up a new store called Myvi Pollamore Art, and it's just all of her stuff, So I would say if that really is what you've seen, where it was just an exact replica, let me know, because from what I understand, AI art tools like Midjourney can't really just pull from one single source. Anyway, to me, an artist style is their creative heart. To use AI to develop your own style can go from there, I find no problem. How this would ever be able to be regulated, I can't imagine. Yes, exactly. Let me finish this comment. It's kind of like a patent license problem. Thank you for the discussion. I appreciate your views and agree for the most part. Peace and love abide with you. Thank you so much for the comment. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's exactly right, Bev. How can you regulate that? And I think the answer is you can't. And I think the answer is it won't be. At least that's what we've seen so far. Once again, just kind of almost in contradiction to the lookalike thing, where you can see exactly which image it's creating. AI tools pull from thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of different reference points to develop their images. So to be able, for that to work, the software would create the image for you, and then it would have to give you a list of all the different places it referenced to create that image for you. And let's say it's 650,000 different reference points. Let's just say it's that many. So now we're saying, okay, we need to go through all 650,000 of these and send emails out, making sure that it's okay and how much it'll cost, because the software referenced your image as part of this new image. And let's say 200,000, these are big numbers. This is me just, being crazy. But let's say 200,000 of those emails come back and they're like, yeah, you're more than welcome to reference it. However, it's going to cost $1, $1 for the reference. For the computer to think about me while it created its image, it's going to cost $1. So creating that one image is going to cost $200K if everyone gets $1, And I equate it to how your own brain works when it's referencing things you've seen in the past to create something new. You might be thinking about a particular image or a particular artist when you're creating your own art to pull inspiration from. And so your hand or your ear or your deer might look a little bit similar to some other artist's deer. But does that mean that you now owe those people or need to get permission for thinking of them? That's kind of how I equate it. I've been watching a lot of videos about AI art and its impact on the artist community, and I've been trying to be very good about watching videos from both sides. So I watched a video from Bug where she talked about how AI art has been impacting her emotionally as someone that even wants to continue to create art, because AI can kind of come in. It almost feels like it's taking the heart and the soul out of artistic creation to her, which I totally understand. This was like a year-old video. And then I watched another one from, I feel like her name's Susanna, but she has worked with some diamond painting companies before, and she's a digital artist. She's also worked with popular movie makers and big entertainment companies. And she did a long video diving into utilizing Midjourney, an AI tool. And she just gave a really honest opinion. She had never used it before. She's like, I'm going to download it. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to see what I can do with this tool and incorporate it into my artistic, process, and see how I feel about it. And she had kind of mixed feelings. There was pros for her, and then there was also cons for her. So I really liked that. And then I've seen people way on the opposite side who are more on the tech side of things and aren't like, they have more of a advancement of technology mindset as opposed to artistic mindset. And they're very much like, I don't know, I didn't care for the people that are like, AI is gonna just, is just going to even the playing field and like take artists down a peg. Like I that rubs me the wrong way, where they get really kind of bro-y about it, and it's like, oh, now I can be a digital artist, and yeah, you guys have had fun, and now here I am. Like I've heard a little bit of that, and then I've watched videos where people are far on the other side, just like screaming into their microphones about, and just cursing up and down. So I've watched a little bit of everything, and it has adjusted my mindset a little bit in regards to the heart and soul of your art. But and Bug had also mentioned that artistic spirits can oftentimes be fairly sensitive, a little bit more reserved, and so I feel if there's anything that I do wish I hadn't said, in that vlog is, I definitely got riled up about the artists that are so aggressively, are just really aggressive on Facebook groups and in coming after AI artists and calling them fake, or just being really cruel to artists that utilize AI as a tool. And there's a couple artists in particular that I no longer will buy their images from Diamond Art Club because of some of the stuff that they've said on these Facebook groups. So I was kind of talking about my feelings towards folks that have that kind of attitude towards AI artists. And I said something along the lines of like, these people need to get over themselves. And I mean, I stand by that to a certain extent, but I think my verbiage if I had to do it all over again, I probably would have said something different, because after watching Chris Abug's video and understanding just kind of, the personality type of a lot of, some artists, not all of them, but some artists, and how this can really impact digital artists on an emotional level and on a level of even wanting to continue continue making art. I guess I didn't ever see it like that. And so that makes me kind of rethink things, that even if I have some strong feelings and they have some strong feelings, like, I never want to feed that emotion for them. And I never want an artist to watch that video and feel at all discouraged to continue their own work. We can have completely different viewpoints and still kind of exist in the same space. And I love Chris Abug's art, and so that did hit me a little bit of like, okay, Anthony. It doesn't mean I am changing my mind, but I think I could have approached that a little bit more softly. We're down to, I think, because this video is going to be so long, usually when my battery gets to about 5%, I'll swap it out. I'm going to let this thing run until it dies, because I want to get every bit of battery that I can out of this, because we're most likely going to use them all. We're at just about 4 miles, so I guess we're doing pretty good. We might just need to use 2 batteries, so let me go ahead and swap it out. 1 second. Okay, we're back. My hands are so cold. I don't know if anybody else, tangent, I don't know if anyone's ever watched, this will be the question for this video is, did you ever watch The Kroll Show with Nick Kroll? It used to be one of my all-time favorite shows. I think it was only around for like 3 seasons, maybe 4 seasons. It was kind of a little sketch, kind of vignette comedy, sketch comedy kind of show with all these like mini shows in the show. So the one episode would have all these different shows and Nick Kroll would play one of the characters in it. And one of my favorite shows within the show was called Liz and Liz, and it was about these 2 girls working in LA that ran like a marketing agency, or like an ad firm, or a publicity agency. And I think the show was called Publicity, I think is what it was called. And the 2 characters were Liz and Liz. And Nick Kroll played one Liz, and then Jenny Slate played the other Liz. And it was I love it. I quote that a lot. So anyway, I was like, sorry, my hands are so cold, because one of the Liz's used to say that all the time. But anyway, enough about that. Okay, comments. So yeah, the patent licensing, I think all of that chat was just to say, I just don't know how they would ever identify how to license an image that is pulling from literally thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of reference points. It's just not practical, and I just don't think it'll ever happen. Maybe it will in some form or fashion, but I just don't know. The Creativity Squirrel, hi Bex. Bex here. Thank you so much for such an informative vlog. I'm a traditional artist, but I also use AI as an extra tool to create pieces. Pretty much the way you described. I prompt Mid-Journey with one of my own sketches, then I finish it off using Photoshop and Illustrator. Hold on, I just need to check to see where we're going real quick. We've got a turn in the road. Oh, it's so cold, Apollo. Okay. We're making some good progress. So we're gonna turn here. So she said 99% of artists use something as a reference. If I need to draw a tree, then I'll search the internet for a tree. If I want to draw a young girl running, then I'll Google young girl running so I have a reference to how their hair flows, the position of her legs, shadows from the sun, etc. I haven't drawn an exact copy, but I have used it as a reference. I've had many conversations with people who don't want to learn what AI is and how it's used. I've been branded as a thief and not a real artist, despite the fact I've been drawing for years. Look at an artist's kit in its entirety before passing judgment, and just because an artist has a similar style to another artist doesn't mean they've simply smashed out a few words and fed it into AI. Anthony, from now on, I'll be sending people to this vlog. You really did an awesome job. Thank you so much. That might be the one comment out of all of this that I have no other thoughts. Yes, exactly. Just what Bex said. And coming from an artist that has been in the game for years and used a bunch of different mediums to hear from their mouth directly how they use this tool in their process, I think is the most valuable point of view that that I saw come out of that vlog. Is right from the horse's mouth, so to speak, on how they use that tool in a responsible way. So anytime you are feeling like grabbing that pitchfork out of your closet or condemning a diamond painting shop for carrying quote unquote AI, think about the artists like Bex that are tenured professional artists, and maybe keep that in mind before you go to post something coming after artists like that. Think twice, and I will be there to defend them. So get ready to see me too. Thank you so much, Bex. The Diamond Stitcher said, very interesting discussion. I learned some new things. I agree nothing is black or white. I can see people using it as just part of a tool belt, like one other commented, seems all right to me. The intention is good. Those who are just trying to create the same images as other artists, that's where I start to feel uncomfortable with AI. I think everyone would benefit from listening to this. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, they're, just like I've said before, just like anything else, it can be used in a productive way and it can be abused as well. It's just, it's just a matter of who's behind the computer and what their intentions are. So thank you. Cindy G170 says, thank you, Anthony, for such a thoughtful and enlightening vlog. Of course, I love to do it. Like I said, I sometimes like poking a bear. I sometimes like tossing a grenade and running. Sometimes I like engaging in deeper conversations or trying to encourage others to kind of explore their own thoughts too and see some different perspectives. And I love doing that myself. I love realizing new things or like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. And I hope that everyone that commented is doing okay with my responses. Once again, it's absolutely never going to be personal or like I'm mad at you for this or I'm going to come after your comment. That is never my mindset. Once again, we're just opening a dialogue here. And if you ever do feel that way, like, Anthony, you responded to my comment and you were kind of an ass, just message me, because that's not my intention, and I will check myself before I wreck myself, okay? Because I do love all you guys, so I always want to maintain respect and kindness and love for all of you as we're going through this. I just hope that you're okay with, you know, we're gonna have a little back and forth here, and I'm assuming we'll get a lot of comments on this video as well. So this might be an ongoing series. We'll see. We'll see. April Campbell 747 said, "Thank you for your eloquence in explaining your views on the idea of what you're trying to convey. I am not an artist in a traditional sense. I knit and diamond paint, so I have no input either way about how someone makes art. I don't like where AI is going with words and that whole writing thing, because it just reminds me of plagiarism." Oh, okay. She's not talking about prompts. She's talking about like the written word of like going on GPT and saying, "Write me a story about draglings," you know. So yeah, I get that. Because I feel like it's not fair. One should have to come up with one's own words, like I had to do when in school. My 2 cents for what it's worth. Thanks for sharing your benefits with us proudly. I respect and appreciate that, Anthony. Of course. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your comment. I totally agree with you, April. Some of the other mediums that AI can be used in is a little bit tricky. Once again, I think it all comes down to what the person's intent is, but we're gonna go up, we're gonna churn here. What I would say is think about folks with speech difficulties or speech delays, or those that that can't necessarily express their thoughts and ideas in a way that you would just that you would find to be eloquent or cohesive, and people that may have some really amazing stories in their head and ideas that they want to put down to paper, but they're unable to process those in a way. Even someone that doesn't have those problems, that maybe just has writer's block, think about how AI generated storytelling could maybe help them develop inspiration or a path forward. So maybe they're not just copy and pasting what the computer has provided, but it sparks that, or it breaks that writer's block for them so they can keep moving in their normal direction. Or someone that physically couldn't put it together now has the freedom to explore those stories and ideas and get that assistance. So that's one use case where I could see AI used in written or spoken word to be of help. I agree with you. It gets a little wonky, just like it does with artwork. It gets a little wonky, but once again, it's about intention, the use case, and kind of the morals behind it and the intention. So thank you so much for the comment. Alicia T61 said, "Anthony, thank you so much for this discussion. I had asked a simple question the other day. If anyone had worked on a kit from a regular company and a particular company, and what their thoughts were, that prompted the thought that the company used too much AI." Okay. Is there a difference between using digital, I didn't say that okay to you, I said that okay to whoever said that to you. Is there a difference between using digital media to create artwork and AI? Let me answer these questions one at a time. So is there a difference between using digital media to create artwork and AI? I would say AI is a digital media tool. So no, it's on par with everything else. The biggest difference being if I was to open Procreate and I wanted to draw an image, I would grab my little stylus with my iPad. I would select a brush type or a pen type or a marker type or whatever it is. I'd select my medium, whether it be texture like oil paint or watercolor or marker or crayon colored pencil, regular pen, whatever it is, and I would just get started. A blank iPad, get going. And I could, of course, incorporate some other tools or other features within Procreate. So I could say, make a circle, make me a triangle, make this hair, or give it hair texture. I can do all that stuff. AI is different in the sense that I can go into Midjourney as a separate program, and I can type in mountain landscape in Hawaii, and it'll generate an image based off of what I insert. So it's going to try to create mountains in Hawaii. I can, if I so chose, I could just hit download, go to Dreamer Designs and be like, here it is. Here's my mountains in Hawaii, and it's probably going to look funky. And once again, I'll try to insert some examples of stuff that I've done just using prompts, nothing else. But a lot of artists will take that mountains in Hawaii that the computer made, and they'll pull it into that other program. Then they'll get their brushes and be like, we got to fix this. We got to put more snow here. We're going to add some or not snow, it's Hawaii. We're going to put some more rainforest here. We're going to put some birds here. We're going to add some lava here, whatever, you know. So they take that skeleton of an image and they're going to create a fully formed piece of art out of it. So that I think that's kind of the difference there. You can go one way or the other, or a combination of the two. And more and more people are doing a combination of the two, which I happen to like. Next question that she had is, the artwork that uses digital media or AI that is licensed vetted to ensure the artwork is not quote unquote stolen? No, it is not. So when the program makes your mountains in Hawaii, it's referencing any image that was fed into that let's call it a hard drive, a server. So it's fed into that. So whoever created that software went through and pulled all of these images down. They could be licensed artwork. They could be a picture of Hawaii that you took on vacation that you posted on Instagram. It could be a still shot from a documentary on mountain ranges in Hawaii or mountains in Hawaii. It's taking anything and everything it can find from what was given to it, and it's going to put something together, and it is not asking permission. So that is one of the biggest points of contention that people have with how AI is created. But I will reiterate that it's not as cut and dry as being able to point to an image that was created and saying, hey, that tree in the rainforest is clearly a tree from this other art that I've seen. Or, hey, that wave in the ocean looks exactly like this wave from this other image. It's intentionally pulling more data points, so it's avoiding that kind of copy. Now, I could also go into that program and type in, give me mountains in Hawaii like this artist, or just like this artist, or make it look like this image. So you can be malicious I think that's the best term I can use, is malicious, in telling the computer to copy something. But the artists that I support and I love and I think create amazing artwork intentionally do not do that, because that's where you get yourself into some trouble, and that's where a lot of artists get angry. They are still angry because their artwork is being used at all as a reference point, but it's not a direct copy in a lot of cases. I just want to make sure we're going the right way. I've never been here before, so it looks like it's going to have us go under this. I hope you can see it, under that road. So anyway, okay. So thank you so much, Alicia, for the question. She said, I think that's the biggest conception. So stolen, so another question that I think is a big question in this whole conversation is, what does stolen mean to you? Does stolen mean a shot-for-shot copy? Does stolen mean a percentage of the image was used referencing someone else's image? Or is it the fact that the computer even used a licensed image as a reference point now means that is stealing? And then my challenge to you, if you do believe that last statement, is I think about another artist. If I was an artist and I think about another artist's inspiration and I start to create my own art not using AI, by referencing that person in my head, am I now stealing? So that's I think that's an important point and discussion point to consider. So
Okie dokie. So, I had provided a little bit of a warning earlier on in this video about how I was concerned about the audio, and if I ran into any issues that I would probably have to just do like a voiceover or something and still continue playing the rest of our walk, which I am going to have to do because at this point the audio is doing its I'm sure you noticed it started to kind of cut in and out a little bit and change audio levels. What I'm thinking is happening in that situation is my mic is starting to run out of battery. I'm learning that about 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours of consistent record time kind of drains the battery, which I did a little research and it turns out that is I mean, it's normal. The batteries for these mics last a combined 5.5 hours is what they're rated as. So each of them is about 2 hours and 15 minutes of battery life. But when we take into account that I've had these for about a year, and it seems like cold definitely affects battery life. That's pretty common in electronics overall. And so it was about 33 degrees by the time 34 degrees when we got to this point in the walk. So I'm not mad about it. I just need to remember to bring either my secondary mic that comes with it. I almost never bring that with me, but I will start, and just be mindful of time. So just keep in mind, this is Anthony back at the house. This is editing Anthony having to come back in. And so I'm working on a diamond painting right now, so I'm going to finish the last couple comments. We only had, I think, 3 left to get through at this point, so we were just about done anyway, so it's not like I have to go back and do a ton of comments. So we had last just responded to Alicia's comment, so thank you so much, Alicia. Cheryl R941 just said, "Great vlog." Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Cheryl, for listening to the vlog, and I hope that this video keeps you company as well. I really appreciate it, so thank you so much. And then Hartana said, "I wish there was a way to make everyone who wants to talk about AI art to watch this video." Such a good explanation, and I really wish everyone would listen and take their bias out to take their bias out to have a real conversation. I'm not necessarily drawn to a lot of AI art, but it really depends on the person that is inputting the information as to what kind of image is created. I've never bought from them, but I noticed that Craft Ease is creating their own images, but now labeling them as Craft Ease AI originals. Yeah, Hartana, when I read that the first time and responded to it, when I got home, I looked at the Craft Ease AI originals section, and that is really cool that they are making that distinction on their shop. I think that's a rather smart way to go about it if we do need to differentiate between non-AI and AI on shops. I hope that we get to a place where it's all just considered digital art. We don't have to make those specifications, but in the meantime, I suppose if that's necessary or helpful to consumers as we're kind of in this gray period, I think that's a good way to go about it, as opposed to I don't necessarily know if I like the idea of labeling all artists that utilize AI in their toolbox, that we would have to set them aside or put them in a different box or label them in a different way, because once again, continue to drive it home. I think that artwork process is just as valid as any other, so I don't really think it should have to have its own distinction, and hopefully we'll get there. But I think this is a good way to kind of put a band-aid on it until we figure something out. So that's good on Craftease for doing that. I've never shopped from Craftease as a store, mainly because I've never really looked into them before. It's not a shop that I've even really looked at their offerings, but maybe it'll encourage me to try. And then you mentioned that you're not necessarily drawn to a lot of AI art. I would ask, what is it about AI art images that you've seen thus far that don't really appeal to you, because we're starting to see a ton of different styles and and types of artwork. So is it simply because it's AI, just blanket statement, none of it appeals to you because it's AI, or is there specific artwork styles that you're not drawn to? I tend to see sometimes AI art images that come through that are a little too polished for me, a little too refined, and they start to look a little plastic, if that makes sense, or kind of I mean, it's AI art, but artificial, I guess. It makes me think of when movies put actors into their movie who have passed away, and they like recreate their face based off of other clips, and they use computer generation to kind of make them look like they're real and alive and acting in the scene. But I always find those, I think it's called like the uncanny valley, always makes me feel a little squirmy and wormy. So you'll have to let me know. Um, let's see. I appreciate that they are open about it and people can make a choice based on their own research. The only really real problem I have with it is hoping that companies are licensing with people that are using AI as a tool in an ethical way. Yeah, I agree. Blatantly trying to copy someone's work is where the line is drawn for me, and I hope companies would also have a problem with that. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe companies could just be open with how each artist uses AI as a tool if they do, and make it part of their bio for anyone that has questions. That's a really good idea, and I agree with you to a certain extent there. But I think it should be only if an artist is comfortable with sharing that part of their process, just like any other tool. You know, if someone uses Photoshop, or someone uses, you know, a different digital art tool that's kind of common and mainstream, you know, we typically don't ask artists in bios or otherwise to list, I use Photoshop, I click on this button, I utilize this piece or this tool. We don't really ask artists to do that, and I don't expect artists to share their entire artistic process when they create an image. So if they're willing to share that, that's great. But if they're not, you know, if that's not part of what they want to share, I don't think it should be expected or asked of them, because they should be treated just like any other artist. Um, there is an upcoming artist, I'm assuming upcoming artist on Diamond Art Club, that they've created a bio for, and if I can throw in a little screenshot of that, I will. And that artist does list on their bio on Diamond Art Club that they incorporate AI as a tool in their total process, and I'll include some artwork from this artist because I absolutely love her artwork. I can't wait to see what Diamond Art Club does there, but it's not something that I would expect that artist to share. It just so happens that they did share it. So yeah, I agree, and but I think that the artists, regardless of what tools they're using, should have the option to share what they'd like to share about their artistic process. So, yeah, thank you so much for the comment. Then we have from Cad Zuku, we have, hey Anthony, I saw that same post randomly pop up in my feed as well, and from what I gathered from the post and the comments, the main concern is when shops are selling work from AI artists without disclosing that AI is used. So I think this is probably a common theme, or a common request or concern is making AI artists raise their hand and identify themselves. But once again, I think this tool is just as valid as any other. So I don't think making them separate or different or other is really the path forward, the right path forward. If they want to disclose that stuff, great. But just like anybody else, any other artist on a diamond painting site, I don't find it to be a differentiating point, or where we should be making a decision on whether or not we support them. It really should come down to, just like you normally shop at a diamond painting site. Do you love the art? Do you like it? Would you diamond paint it? Those should be our bellwethers there, and our guiding lights there, as opposed to making these artists feel separate or not equal to. So, um, I would have to agree. I would want to know whether AI is used or not. So I would I would challenge you and say why, why, just so people can make up their own mind or whether or not they want to support that kind of work. It's not a different kind of work in my honest opinion. So I just don't see the need for that, but I get where you're coming from. But thank you so much for the comment. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to see additional comments. Another frequent commenter, Tracy Berry 8745 said, "I use Midjourney as a hobby. Embarrassingly, I have spent 1,143 GPU hours creating nearly 70,000 images. Probably 90% are either poop emoji or meh." In any case, my friend Kim suggested I make a page on Facebook to share them because other people might enjoy them. Sure, people can take them off my page, or if they to support the time it took to get the Midjourney to post something I actually like, they can buy me a coffee, and I will send the person an original Midjourney image to custom make a diamond painting. Okay, cool. I love the technology and would love people to learn a bit more about things before being rude to others about their use of it. I if I was if I, for instance, was actually artistic and loved a particular artist, I would indeed practice art in their style and learn to recreate their brush techniques, etc. I prefer a photorealistic style, so my art doesn't really look like anyone's. Being 53 with a full time job, I'm just trying to create art that is missing in the art world. FYI, I've made about $50. LOL, great vid. That's awesome that you're kind of taking that little hobby or that little interest in kind of making something of it. I personally, I feel more comfortable if it comes to a matter of personal taste. I feel comfortable purchasing and supporting AI art and artists that have done what you've done, run images through Midjourney, but then are going that step further to do additional editing. I was playing around when I got home today from the walk, which you're currently watching right now. I got back on the app that I was playing around with, which is called Wonder, and just typing in a couple prompts just to cure my curiosity or whatever it's called, ease my curiosity, and it did come up with some decent images. Still not perfect, but definitely cleaner than I was imagining they would come out as. I don't know if I'd necessarily purchase them for diamond painting or as artwork in general, but they weren't as crazy wild as I've seen some other prompts that I've done produce. So I think it just depends on what you're trying to create and how well the can interpret that into something decent. But yeah, I like where you're going with that, and that's cool. But just like you said, what was it, 70,000 images, and you're sitting at about $50, which isn't a good equation if it's something that you're trying to make a living off of, for sure. And the hours spent with the prompts and filters and refining all of your texts and all that stuff. So it kind of brings it home how the return on investment can potentially be, and that it's not you're not getting thrown bags of money for just sitting around, for just type not sitting around. I don't mean to devalue what you're doing, but you know what I mean. Like, if I there might be a misception of it's easy just to type in some stuff and suddenly you're the most popular artist on all of these diamond painting sites. It doesn't quite work like that. So I think artists that don't utilize AI for the most part, at least based off of your example, don't have too much right now to worry about as far as Tracy coming in and taking all their licensing opportunities away. But thank you so much for the comment. I really appreciate it. So this next one is a really long one. This is from Elizabeth and Edward over at Enablers Outpost. So we had an artist chime in, and now we've got a small shop chiming in. So right off the bat, thank you so much for contributing to this dialogue. I really appreciate the time that you put into your response, and for being willing to speak on this topic. So, Honey, thank you so much for this. I really do appreciate the thought behind this. You have clearly learned so much about the process than most, I would say, including myself. Where I find that I have an issue is at the beginning, essentially. Artists have not given their permission for their work to be included in those databases. So I'll just kind of stop and pause and answer as we go through this comment. Yeah, I understand where that concern comes from. I would say I, I, I don't necessarily think that all the artwork and images that are pulled into these softwares um, necessarily need individual OKs, especially because it's pulling from, like I said, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of different images to create these pieces that, if done properly, are not a direct reflection of a specific artist or a specific piece of artwork. So, just like I would draw inspiration from a particular artist if I was an artist, drawing inspiration from others is the expectation that if a piece of artwork inspires me, or I decide to start creating a leg or a tree or an arm that has the same look and motion as another piece of artwork, do I need to stop myself before I'm thinking of that person or that artwork and get their permission to think about them when I'm doing my own artwork? That's not how it currently works in the artistic world. You draw inspiration from a number of different things, and you don't necessarily need permission to allow your brain to go there. And that database that the software is using is kind of mimicking that internal process for you. So I get both sides. I understand why people might really think that permission for every single image that's used in these databases needs to be had. But if we're going to treat this tool like we do anything else, it isn't practical. So I don't think that's going to happen, and I personally don't see a specific need for that, if that makes sense. Um, it's understandable to me that artists are upset by others profiting off of their work. I haven't seen it as being a threat to their income as much as it's the fact that they aren't recognized, credited, and compensated. Once again, kind of going back to what you said earlier, I see that, but once again, if I'm an artist not using AI and I'm drawing inspiration or I'm referencing specific artists and artwork, you know, you're not asked to say, okay, here's my painting that I did. Here's all the people that I thought about when I was doing it. I need to credit all of them. Yeah, it's just kind of it's a gray area right now, but I totally see that. I totally see that. I equate it to music sampling. You have to pay to get the rights to use part of other songs in your song, right? I think you do. I'm just assuming, really. Yes, you do. So yeah, when musical artists, do a direct sample of another song, let's say we're talking about Anaconda from Nicki Minaj. We know that Anaconda is a song already, and she's directly sampling the beat and some of the verses or the chorus to that. So yes, that artist would need to get permission to sample that song from the original artist or the original production company. But the difference there for me is when you're listening to the song Anaconda, you know exactly what song Nicki Minaj is pulling from. You can point to the exact "I don't want none," like all, like word for word, it's all there. When you look at an AI art image, I would challenge you to do that same thing. Point to that tree, point to that bush, point to that moose that's in that artwork, or point to that sky and say that is pixel per pixel, color by color, this exact other image. And if you can do that and it can be confirmed, then yes, absolutely. But that isn't really how software like Midjourney creates their images. It's not that finite where once again it's cutting out a specific part of an image and just slapping it into a new one. Um, so that's what gives me pause regarding AI. We did license one AI piece before. This was right at the very beginning of this whole AI tornado that started at the beginning of this year, which was 2023. I remember getting home from our vacation in 2022 and it hitting me in the face as soon as I walked in the door when we got home. Such an uproar. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. And because of that, I have shied away from AI. Now, if someone takes their own art and then puts it into the program to touch up, that would be perfectly acceptable, I think. So, yeah, what Elizabeth and Edward, I'm guessing maybe Elizabeth is commenting, is referencing is you can also use AI to upload your own like sketches or initial images, and then AI will reference other images and other artwork and kind of build on what you've fed it. So it's using your own artwork as the base, as the framework, and then it's taking other artwork and building on that. So it's just a different way to go about it as opposed to using text as the starting point. So it's just a different starting point but essentially the same process. And I see where that feels more valid, and I know artists that do that. Bex over at the Creativity Scroll commented that she does something similar, but um, but yeah, I think even artwork that is started with the prompts is just as valid of a starting point in my opinion as well. You listed that or you mentioned that you kind of shy away from incorporating AI art into your shop now because of that uproar. I guess my question would be, how do you identify when an artist is presenting you artwork that has AI has been involved in the production? Is it the look of it? Are you asking them outright and hoping for an honest answer? You might get to that. Oh, wait, maybe you already did. Yeah, despite being lied to, or I despise being lied to. Yeah, so, she said, I think I'm wary of trusting people, however, because I've seen some people deny that they used AI at all, but it clearly is AI. Okay, so yeah, tell me more. Tell me, when you say clearly was, what are some of the things that you're seeing? Is it those inconsistencies in hands and body parts and stuff, or just wonky stuff? Like, what tips you off, and what happens when an artist has utilized AI in their process, but it is an amazing image that looks like any other digital art? Like, what's your red flag there? And yeah, I guess that would be my question to you. Um, I want to take into consideration how our current licensed artists feel, because I feel it's only fair since they put their trust in me with their art. Yeah, I guess I could see that if you have some licensed artists that you're working with that are staunchly against AI art and they're concerned about their products being shown alongside them. That's a valid concern, and I think as a shop you probably really need to respect that with your artists that don't use that tool. But for me, it's like, to what end? As AI as a tool becomes more prominent and more commonplace, does that mean in turn that your shop will have less and less artwork available in general? And where's the tipping point where so many people are utilizing AI as a tool in their artwork that we have to just let that go? Otherwise the shops won't have any artwork in them, or you have to you have to turn your focus towards old masters or artwork that was created before AI tools were commonly available. Or are we just going to carry images from artists that aren't doing digital art at all? We're just looking for physical canvas and medium style artwork. I just worry that it really will start to limit the offerings that shops can put up, because of their 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 reluctance to incorporate AI art. And I worry from a business standpoint, if you're really starting to limit your product range and offering, how that impacts sales, or if licensed artists are only having licensed artists that don't use AI as a tool, really starts to impact how many artists you're able to afford in your portfolio too. So I'm curious about that part as well. So it makes me think a lot about, like, what does this mean for diamond painting small and big businesses going forward. um, I'm not saying I'm against AI. I don't know enough about it to have an educated opinion, but when it comes to licensing, I do need to weigh out pros and cons. Absolutely. I also equate how artists feel about AI to what I feel about mass produced machine made painting pens. There are clear indicators of mass production or even someone who has programmed their lathe to do work for them just like the big manufacturers do. To me, that is not handmade. Handmade is a person standing in front of the machine, holding the tools and doing the physical work to the pen blank. What takes a human anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, a machine can do in minutes. AI is the same thing. The yes and no. Yeah, there's definitely AI art, people that are getting on Midjourney and creating art that we've talked about it before. That will just pop in a couple prompts, see what it spits out, boom, boom, done. There you go. But artists that I support and love are going the extra mile, going that next step, and really churning those images into their own and adding some additional pieces to it to really create something special and unique and personal to them. So, not when you say that is where did it go? Oh, AI is the same thing. It's not. It's not in every case. I would I would caution you to use such blanket statements like that because it isn't every single person that's using AI art as a tool or AI as a tool in their artwork. So I don't agree there. And when it comes to the handmade thing, I agree. But for me, it comes when it comes to something like a pen, like a physical like a physical product that I'm holding in my hand. Handmade means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. You know, I totally understand and agree to a certain extent with your definition of what handmade is. You know, the time it takes, but that's not always someone else's interpretation of what they feel they've made by hand, you know? So for me, it really comes down to what's important to the person creating the product and what's important to the person purchasing or looking for a product. Um, I I only use Enabler's Outpost pens. I physically don't have any other diamond painting pens in my house anymore. I only use Enabler's Outpost just because I think the quality is fantastic. The weight of the pen is weighted really well. They're super comfortable for my hands. So I only use Enabler's Outpost products. But I could also see somebody else who takes more value in how cost effective their diamond painting craft is and to be mindful of cost when it comes to purchasing accessories and stuff. So they may find more value in a product that is less expensive because a machine was programmed or used to automate the process. And that's now we're talking about the like industrial revolution and making products easier to access for more groups of people and not making people feel like they are left out of being able to participate in a craft like diamond painting or anything else because they can't afford an Enabler's Outpost pen. So they're going to pay 10 or 20 bucks less. Just like you said, you can tell and sometimes you know where those quality differences are or the look and the feel of it, but that might not be the deciding factor for a lot of people. It is for me, and I'm lucky enough to have that flexibility with what I choose. It's just as valid and just as valuable to have other options that are produced in a different way. So yeah, I don't think one's bad or good. I think they're all good because they feed a specific crafter, a specific diamond painter, a specific demographic, and they fill a place in the market that is needed. So I don't see that as something that is negative at all. But I totally get where you're coming from. But I hope that you know the sentiment isn't you know being angry or upset at seeing these other more affordable kind of mass produced products in the market because they are really allowing someone to explore a craft that and utilize tools that they might not otherwise have access to. So we don't want to shut people out from being able to enjoy this craft because they can't afford a hand churned pen, or someone standing behind a lathe for hours. They don't have that option, and I don't think that means that it's too bad so sad. So I think there's a place for a competitive market. I think there's a place for a varied market, and I think that's really healthy in the space. So yeah, um, there is a place for it. Okay, all right, we're getting there. But I should have kept reading. But it shouldn't cost the same or cost even close to the same. That's all in the eye of whoever's putting it together. If I'm creating something that didn't take as long as it took somebody else, that doesn't mean that it's less valuable, or I should price or devalue myself because I didn't take the exact same amount of time. But on the flip side, there are clear differences. An example would be for me when we're talking about AI art and how it's produced. I could absolutely go and buy a pen blank, just the square block of resin, just the four sides, and have someone drill the pen tip holes on either end, and boom, there's my pen. I just saved $20. But is that practical for me to use? Is it going to be comfortable to use? Am I going to enjoy that? Probably not. That sounds pretty awful, actually. But it would bring the cost down, and the actual you know tool is the same. It is technically a diamond painting pen, but is it something that I personally would want to utilize? No, no. And I personally wouldn't pay the same amount for that. But where I think there's a difference between AI artwork is I probably wouldn't pay the same amount for the exact same an image that has just been churned out from the software, and it's just the straight image, the odd bits here and there, the things that are kind of messy, the things that need to be cleaned up, and then take that same image and put it in someone's hands who's going to run it through Photoshop and Procreate and Illustrator and Topaz, and really make it a really clean, succinct image, and bring it to full fruition. I would pay more for that. It's the same image, but someone, just like you said, it's that time and effort that's put into it. So I think that's where we need to start thinking about the differentiation. It's not, to me, it's not because it came originally from an AI software that's the problem. It's what happens after that I really take value in. So, yeah. Thank you so much. And she said, "Hi, Apollo. Apollo, come here, baby. Hi." Elizabeth and Edward say hi. Oh, you're very cute. Yeah, you're a very cute boy. He says hi. All right, so we're on our last comment here. Jen Polenska 1591 said, referencing others' ideas is the foundation of knowledge. What a great way to look at it. So true. Love this video, Anthony. Great explanation all around. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think I said that in the original vlog is, yeah, that's where our knowledge and what we think about and how we view the world is all just bits and pieces of what we've gathered from others, from when we're born, and personality types. It's kind of that, nature versus nurture, I guess that's part of it. But yeah, just understanding around us and how we interpret things and how we create things is all just from what we see and what we reference and what we pull from around us. But that doesn't make us all thieves. It's just part of human nature. And I think the problem is, or the issue that a lot of people take, is incorporating technology and a computer into that human process is scary, and it's scratchy, and it's abrasive, and it's new. It starts off as new, it becomes commonplace, then advancements happen, it's new again, it's scratchy again, then it becomes commonplace, and then it gets scratchy again. That's just us advancing in general. It's just a little bit tougher when we're talking about something so personal and creative as artwork, and I completely see why why this topic becomes so heated and becomes such a point of contention for a lot of people, because something like artwork and the creative mind and creative spirit is something that we tend to not want to mess with too much, and it just means so much to so many of us. It's not the same as trying to make a car manufacturing a car as quickly and as efficiently as possible, because we don't have that same personal connection to those products that we and things that we use and do every day as we do in artwork and something that's more creative. It's just a little bit stickier, and it's a little bit of a heavier subject to incorporate automation into. It's like, come on, like, art is where we can hang our hat, where we get to express ourselves. So I totally get that. But yeah, thank you so much for the comment, Jen. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up. I don't know how closely this will tie to how long the actual rest of the walk is, if we're still walking, or if I'm gonna have to throw something else in here. But thank you so much, everyone, for your comments. I hope that this continues to encourage people to look into things a little bit deeper. And I think mainly think about how you approach AI artists in social spaces, and the respect that you give them and the kindness that you give them should be just as equal to any other artists that you engage with on the internet. They deserve just as much respect. They deserve just as much kindness, and just as much love and uplifting messages as any other artist that you love or enjoy working on their images as diamond paintings. I think that this new generation of artists that's starting to incorporate AI tools, as well as more tenured artists like Bex and others in the community that have been doing traditional digital art for a really long time, but now are incorporating this new tool, they are the new artists. They are bringing themselves up to new technologies and modernizing their techniques to stay relevant and stay on top of what's coming down the pipeline. So I really hope that we start to transition into welcoming all of these artists into the community with open arms, and encouraging them to pursue the craft, and encouraging them to explore new ideas, because that is a big foundation of creativity, and I think we're missing that in this conversation. So I hope that this continues to drive this message forward, and I look forward to filming and recording subsequent videos in regards to this topic, because it is something I feel very strongly about. So yeah, anyway, that's that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this content with friends, family members, anyone that you think might take some value out of this content. Otherwise, happy placing. We'll see you next time. Bye. 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 Bye.